Hey, I'm sure you haven't noticed by now, but for the last few months, I've been using a small RGB light called the LituFoto to accessorize my studio. And I want to talk to you about how similar accessories can really help your photo shoot in all sorts of ways. Let's get into it. Now, if you're looking at the internet a couple of months ago, mini RGB panels came increasingly popular at the end of 2019. And this is coinciding with the release of the Aperture MC RGB light. Ever since then, a huge selection of RGB lights flooded the market. And these lights were ranging from the Godox models to the LituFoto to the Aperture MC to a whole bunch of units. And their popularity increased with reason. They're pretty useful tools for you, whether you are a photographer or a videographer, even more for the latter. And at this point in 2021, you can get one mini RGB light panel for around 80 Canadian dollars, or if you're in the US, 53 Freedom dollars. That makes them pretty damn affordable. The particular model I'm using is called the LituFoto RGB panel, and it boasts the following specs. Let's take a quick look. It has a full RGB spectrum, a CRI of 95+, which means its color rendering index is close to 100, but not quite perfect for immigrant parents, but good enough for our use. It's light. It only weighs 6.35 ounces or 180 grams.
Only problem is it's so thin, so light.
It also has a digital display of the current RGB setting you're using, also the power settings. It has 9 lighting effects for video, and very important, 2 1/4 nuts to make the LituFoto stand or use it horizontally. And here are some quick reviews of the unit. The unit doesn't feel cheap, like I wouldn't be scared of dropping this, and I've even let my toddler daughter play with it and she didn't break it, so quite good for something so inexpensive. Also, the LituFoto uses a USB-C for charging. Thank you. Playing with the settings of the light is simple enough whether you're in RGB mode or one of the special functions that this light has. Now, one down point is the LituFoto panel has a little feedback noise when you use it under 15% power. And here's a little sample. The smart thing to do if ever you use that particular model with some sound is to use it basically over 15%, and that shouldn't be too difficult. Or the second option would be to create some distance between the mic and the unit. Again, I'm not sure if this is because of the particular, if I have like a small lemon, but this is the way that this one behaves. Or the other solution, the one I'm forgetting, is spend a little more and get the aperture. That should solve it. And another down point is that there's no app control, but with the actual display here, and I'm kind of also done having 300 apps controlling all the accessories that I have for my cameras and lights. They can live on their own and I'm fine. Now, that said, that's cool and all, but how can a photographer then use this? Because this seems to be geared more for videographers. Well, here are a couple. You can get more colorful eyes out of your subject. Yeah, it's weird, but I know. Here's how. Using a constant light like this one has the benefit of reducing the size of the pupil. Letting more and more light come into this makes the iris bigger, then you get more colors because you can see less black and more color. Awesome. Do you need a cool accent light? Well, a small form factor RGB panel might be right for you actually. Well, I've been using it for my YouTube videos, but you should totally try to incorporate that into a shoot, especially if you're not shooting at a high aperture or a high shutter speed. It's also a pretty practical tool. Are you looking for something in the dark, or are you living in Texas? No problem. This is battery powered, and it can even act as a charger if ever used up, and it lasts about 2 hours, which is pretty cool. Also, it might be useful for your bloody Zoom calls. I don't know about you, but ambient lighting in my basement sucks. I don't always want to bust out my big RGB panels, and this little light it actually is really useful to get some resolution out of my 720p webcam because it's pretty terrible. Thank you, computers. I hate Zoom calls. And the last thing will be drag lights. I wanted to show you this because I actually find it very cool, and you can do this with a $50 accessory, which is pretty awesome. Now, with your subject perfectly still in a low-powered flash, you can drag a light in and out of your frame and create some really cool shots. I did a quick test. Let me show you how. First, you attach a spigot stud to your light. I recommend attaching the spigot to the portrait orientation. Then you securely attach a string to the stud where the attachment is actually connected. Then, on your camera, set your shutter speed to half a second or a little slower for a low max drag effect. Then, test it without a subject. And when you get something that you like, place your subject and be creative. You can see here, I've done it with myself with no one assisting me. So you can get something decent if ever you're looking for a creative self-portrait. And with any decent mini RGB panels, you can get this done fairly easily. Now, if you're balling a little bit, you have more money in your pockets, and you have the stim check, get yourself a couple and let them drag all at once. More than one arm will be required, but again, it's going to be really cool. So that is it for the LituFoto, and I hope you found this useful. You can leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you. And if you plan to get yourself a copy of the LituFoto Mini RGB panel or the Aperture MC panel, I'll leave some links below. It's also a great way to support your own art and this channel. This has been YvensB, Montreal advertising and portrait photographer, and together, let's light the world. Cheers.